Alrighty. See if we can't find the stream. Hopefully it won't be too far away. Usually isn't. Twitch. Cause F1. There's a channel. And there's the stream. So the stream's up, chat's up. Audio is working. Hello Twitch Ed, how do you do? Well, everything is working as it should, so that's absolutely fantastic. Hello everyone, and welcome to round 12 of the AM1 Championship here on Contest of Speed. I'm Lane Everingham, your commentator for this event, and this time we're racing at Autodromo José Carlos Pache for the Brazilian Grand Prix. One of my all-time favourite racetracks. Interlagos is a 2.67 mile, 15-turn circuit that was opened in 1940, making it one of the oldest racetracks on the Formula One calendar. Its longevity in the sport comes thanks to several different factors, but the main one for us to know is the circuit's ability to create awesome races. Some of the most iconic moments in the history of Formula One have happened right here. Drama, action, pure hard-fought racing are things you see here on a semi-regular basis, and fortunately, those real-world characteristics translate into the virtual world. Because it's a short, well-known racetrack, qualifying is usually close and competitive. There are two DRS zones that lead into turns 1 and 2's Center S, and turns 4 and 5's Descida do Lago. These provide the best overtaking opportunities around the circuit, but there are others, such as the hairpins of turns 8 and 11 in the middle sector. In between those areas are a series of corners that have their own layers of challenge and demand, layers that we'll more than likely talk about over the course of qualifying and the race. Speaking of which, we're going to have dry, slightly overcast conditions for both sessions. So hopefully with that in mind, we get to see some really entertaining stuff out on track. But before we fully focus on this qualifying session, there is a little bit of news to go through first from the previous round in Japan. There are two major talking points in terms of stewards' reports, one of which involves Cameron in the Red Bull. He's been awarded a qualifying ban and 2 penalty points for purposely crashing on track. That was lap 17 in that race at Suzuka, where he crashed out deliberately, brought out a safety car. And looking at the leaderboard here, he's not here to serve it, so if he arrives at the final 2 rounds in Mexico or Cota, he has to serve a qualifying ban. The other massive talking point is Rick Dalton, who's still in the pit lane. He was awarded a 10-second time penalty for a reset the track that I believe we caught on stream. As a result, Dalton is relinquished of his victory in Japan and moves to P3 in the final results, meaning that Barmer 22 has taken another victory in this championship season. As a result, he has extended his lead in the Drivers' Championship to 44 points. He's got a very, very comfy lead with only 3 races to go. In fact, if Barmer outscores Dalton by 9 points or more, he'll become Drivers' Champion here tonight in Brazil. Third in the Drivers' Championship is Andy Wu on 90 points, so you can see it's very much a 2-horse race in the Drivers' Championship. Nicholas Latifi is in a fairly tight battle with his teammate Cameron and Mitch Burns. Mitch Burns is right behind Latifi. Latifi on 76 points, Mitch Burns on 75, then Cameron, who was absent, on 69. So only 7 points separating those 3. Elliott and No Cap are next, tied on 40 points each. Both drivers absent for tonight's race. Then P-Dog Payton and Kitten Petter rounds out the top 10. In the Constructors, McLaren are leading by... how much is that? That would be 42 points. McLaren on 216, followed by Williams on 174. So McLaren got a really healthy cushion at the moment. Red Bull are next on 145 points, followed by Ferrari on 132. Mercedes complete the top 5 on 97, followed by Haas on 79, Aston Martin on 77, Alpine on 71, and Alfa Romeo on 70. So it's a really tight fight for 6th place in the Constructors. And at the bottom of the order, we have AlphaTauri on 20 points. That's pretty much it in terms of news. we can now fully focus on this qualifying session. Currently, it's a McLaren 1-2 with Blacks at the top of the table with a 1 minute 7.959, followed by Barmer 22, a 1 minute 8.042. Then 3/10 back, it's Shelley the Turtle in the Aston Martin. Nicholas Latifi making his way around the middle sector now. Heading around Ferradura. Oh, he pulls out of the way, so evidently he's made a mistake when I wasn't looking in the first sector, and he's decided to bail from this flying lap. Express has just begun a flying lap, understeering wide there at turn 2, costing himself time. Lopez getting ready, Kittapetta getting ready. In fact, we might use Lopez here, give you a guided tour of this legendary racetrack. In fact, no, we're not, because he's not using any battery, so he's going to duck back into pit lane, so he's not going to commit to a flying lap. So we'll wait for Kittapetta to come around. Airborne Tiger's coming towards the end of a flying lap in the Alpine. He'll cross the line to go to pole position. 1 minute 7.320. Really nice lap time from him. Kittapetta now making his way around. We'll ride on board with the Ferrari driver. Give you a proper tour of this racetrack. Heading down the main straightaway now. Watch the speedo climb over 200 miles an hour. Hopefully, there it is there. 200 miles an hour right into the braking zone. Into the center S. Turns 1 and 2. Around turn 3, Curva de Sol. And heading on to the Retta Aposta. You'll open DRS, shift into top gear. Head towards Descida do Lago. Hard on the brakes at 200 miles an hour. Brings it down to about 105. Around turn 5. Heading up the hill now towards Ferradura. Turns 6 and 7. You have to be careful not to run too wide here at the exit of turn 7. Otherwise, you'll cop a warning and an invalidated lap. Around the hairpin of turn 8. A potential overtaking spot during the race. Around turn 9. And around the right-hand kink of turn 10. And into the hairpin of turn 11. Another potential overtaking spot. Down the hill around this very tricky left-hander turn 12. Then up towards Junsao turn 13. One of the most important corners on the racetrack as it dictates how well you do through the final sector. Around turn 14, around turn 15, the final corner on the racetrack. Kittapetta will cross the line to set a 1 minute 7.911. Goes second quickest with that time, beating Blacks by 0.04 of a second. Barmer getting ready to set a flying lap. Championship leader's current best time is a 1 minute 8.0. He's done that on the medium tyre as well. He is currently on the soft tyre, as you can see there. Around turn 1, down the hill through turn 2, then turn 3. Keeps it nice and narrow, even on the exit, sort of the esports line at the exit of Curva de Sol. Now heading towards Descida do Lago. Turns 4 and 5. Very tidy from Barmer at the moment. He's now heading up the hill towards turn 6. Brings it down to 6th gear. Gently back on the power. Heading into the hairpin of turn 8. 3rd gear. Gently modulating the throttle. There's an AlphaTauri getting out of the way. Doing a bit of lawn mowing while he's at it. Around turn 10. Heading into the hairpin of turn 11. 3rd gear. Not bothering to use 2nd. As Vermouth jumps up to the top. 1 minute 7.146. Around turn 12, heading towards turn 13, Junsao. He's up by 6.5 tenths, but he needs to find more time in this final sector if he's going to challenge Vermouth for pole position. Heading up towards the final corner now, absolutely flat out, up towards the line. It's a 1 minute 7.331. It's not enough for pole, but it's enough for P3. JD on an outlap. He's coming around Junsao, so he'll switch on his battery now. He'll set off, try and set a competitive flying lap. Dream has invalidated. Mitch Burns is up by 1/10.5 in the first sector. He's making his way around turn 9. Andy Wu, I believe, has just jumped up to P4 with a 1 minute 7.6. Dalton's jumped up to 4th now, overtaking Andy Wu. He's just set a 1 minute 7.589. Around turn 12 goes Mitch Burns, heading towards Junsao, turn 13. He is purple, apparently, to the middle sector. He's up by 1 second. With that sort of improvement, he will get into the 7s. Around turn 14, heading towards turn 15. He'll open DRS, shift into top gear, head up towards the line. It's a 1 minute 7.568, 4th quickest for the Aston Martin driver. Saint on a flying lap. He's heading down the Reta Aposta towards Descida do Lago. 201 miles an hour he enters. Apex speed at about 102 miles an hour. Exiting turn 5, heading up the hill towards turn 6. Around Ferradura now, 6th gear, modulating the throttle into the hairpin now of turn 8. Then around turn 9, nice and steady there from Saint. Very easy to lose control of the car here, but he does a really nice job. Around turn 11, then down the hill around the tricky turn 12. That inside curb can be quite nasty, and it's very easy to run wide and get caught out from the grass that is lurking on the outside of turn 12. Around turn 14, you'll open DRS, go around the final corner, up towards the line for Saint. It's a 1 minute 7.618, 7th quickest for the Mercedes driver. Brazil on a flying lap, making his way around turn 7. He's 2.5 tenths down, so he's not on a proper flying lap. He might be on an in lap. Blacks is on the medium compound tyre, but he's not pushing either. He's not using any battery. Shelley the Turtle, how are you doing? You're making your way down the Reta Aposta towards Descida do Lago. You're up by 37 thousandths to the first sector, but has invalidated at turn 4. Maybe a bit distracted from the Alpine on the outside. That was a lead game boy. He was trying to get out of the way, and he's jumping around a little bit. Hopefully that isn't too much of a distraction. Nicholas Lactivi spins at turn 4 right in front. I believe that's Saint, the Mercedes. Oh dear. Yeah, turn 4, you can lose the back end there. Same with turn 5. If you ride that inside curve at turn 5, you can lose the back end there. I've done that once in my racing career. But yeah, Nicholas a bit unlucky, and he will have to come in and get that car fixed, but fortunately he's got plenty of time left in qualifying in order to do that. Airborne Tiger, you want a flying lap, bud? You're making your way around turn 8, turn 9. No, you're not pushing. Fair enough. Vermu, our current pole sitter, with a 1 minute 7.146. He is only 1/10 clear of Airborne Tiger in the Alpine. So can our provisional pole sitter improve on his time? Well, let's find out. Into the center S, the downhill corkscrew of turns 1 and 2. Really tricky complex to get right, but Vermu does it well. Around Curva de Sol, turn 3, heading on to the Reta Aposta. Now we're seeing speeds of about 200 miles an hour. Vermu hits 201, so similar speed between him and his teammate Cos Saint. Up the hill now towards Ferradura, turn 6 and 7. Brings it down to 5th gear. Keeps in 5th, then shifts to 6th at the entry of turn 7. Around the hairpin of turn 8, into the short sweeper of turn 9. You have to be patient here. You don't want to go full throttle too early, and Vermu does a really nice job. Into the hairpin of turn 11, where we saw Hamilton do his infamous send on Alexander Albon, giving himself a 5-second penalty in 2019. Around turn 12 into turn 13, Vermu is up by just under a 10.5. He's looking at a 6 potentially if he gets this final sector spot on. Around turn 14, heading towards the final corner, turn 15, up towards the line, Vermu sets a 7 flat. He is only 44 thousandths away from a 1 minute 6. That's very close. That's a very nice lap time. Rick Dalton's invalidated his flying lap. Andy Wu on a flying lap. He's heading out of turn 11, down the hill around turn 12. He's down by 3/10. He's on the medium tyre as well. So, and he's invalidated at Junsao. And I think as a result, this lap and the next flying lap will be invalidated. I think that's how it works here at Brazil. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Because realistically speaking, Junsao is the final corner on the racetrack. Turns 14 and 15 are flat out kinks. And Blacks does an awful job there at turn 13. But he gets going. Around the final couple of kinks, we'll now set off on a flying lap. Currently P11 with a 1 minute 7.959. To get inside the top 10, he only has to improve by about half a tenth. Down the hill through the center S, turns 1 and 2. Around turn 3, trying to keep a narrow line around the corner. He'll open DRS down the Reta Aposta. There's Barmer getting out of the way. He is on an out lap. And with the time left, Barmer should be able to get 2 more flying laps done. It is a really short racetrack here at Interlagos. And as a result, it gives you a lot of flexibility during qualifying, unlike a racetrack like Spa or Singapore. It's a big one, and that's a big slide from Black. So nice catch, though, as Blade retires in the pit lane. So he'll start, at best, 14th, but he will get a free choice of tyre. Saint getting ready. Mitch Burns on a flying lap, it seems. Well, no, he's not. He's on an in-lap. I don't think he's properly pushing. We'll keep an eye on the middle sector. Just he was using 4th gear. Typically he used 3rd at turn 9. No, he's up by just over a 10th. He is on a push lap. Just through that middle sector where it's tight and twisty. It's difficult to tell whether a driver's going slowly or whether they're actually on a push lap. As Mitch Burns heads up towards the line, he doesn't improve. He stays 5th. Only improves by a 10th. To set a 1 minute 7.464. He is 200ths behind JD in the Alfa Romeo, who was up by a 10th in the first sector. Around turn 9, nice and steady in 3rd gear. That's what you typically see, is drivers use 3rd around turn 9. Mitch, more inclined to use 4th gear. Gives you an advantage that it's typically more stable when you get on the throttle, when you use a higher gear, and you tend to use a bit more torque as well, but you just don't quite have the outright horsepower like you do when you use lower gears. Around turn 14 and around turn 15, JD heads up towards the line. It's a 1 minute 7.244 second quickest for the Alfa Romeo driver. Really nice time. He's only 5 thousandths in front of this man, Airborne Tiger. Barmer jumps up to the top of the table, setting a 1 minute 6.919. The championship leader has asserted his authority. He's now at the top. JD, I think, I don't know if he's got enough time to set another lap. I think his session might be done. Mitch, he's low on fuel, and I don't think he'll be able to really set another flying lap yet. His qualifying's done. Rick Dalton heading down the Retroposta with 3 cars who are on outlaps, trying to get out of the way as he's up by quite a bit to the first sector. Around turn 5, heading up the hill towards turn 6. He'll get on the brakes, bring it down to 5th gear. Short shifts to 6 at turn 7. Now into the hairpin of turn 8. 3rd gear. Back on the power. Now around the short sweeper of turn 9. 2nd gear. Short shifting to 4th on the exit. Gets a lot of torque down onto the road. Around the hairpin of turn 11. Short shifting to 4th again. Then down the hill through turn 12. Be careful of that inside curve. Be careful running wide. Now around Junsao, turn 13. He's up by 8.5 tenths. To the middle sector. He's looking at a 6. He's looking at a really fast time here. Up towards the final corner. Turn 15. Towards the line. Dalton will set a 1 minute 6.644. He takes pole position away from Barmer. He's in the pit lane. His qualifying is done. Vermeulen is on his final flying lap. He needs to improve by 0.4 of a second to try and take pole away from Rick Dalton. Around Curva de Sol, down the Retroposta, up towards the first sector split. The clock says he's up by a healthy chunk for the first sector, 56 thousandths of a second, but he needs to find time through this critical middle sector. He really needs to send it here. Through turn 6, then turn 7, into the hairpin of turn 8, brings it down to 3rd gear, 2nd gear in fact, short shifts to 3rd. Nicholas retires from the session in the pit lane, so he'll be starting P17. Around turn 10, then the hairpin of turn 11, 2nd gear, short shifting to 3rd, down the hill through turn 12, flat out through this left-hander, up towards the middle sector split. Oh, he's lost time. Yeah, I don't think he'll be finding 0.4 in this final sector, but can he challenge Barmer for P2? Can he start on the front row? Heading into the DRS zone, the final DRS zone on the racetrack, up towards the line. Vermeulen will set a 6.9. It's not enough. He misses out by 13 thousandths of a second from starting on the front row. Tiger, his session is done. He'll be starting P4. What about Express? He's down to the middle sector. Needs a pretty spot-on final sector in order to improve. See here, around the final corner, he's very low on battery, but he should have enough to complete this flying lap. And he does not improve. P12 for the AlphaTauri driver. So there we are, qualifying over. And critically for Dalton, he starts on pole position. He needs to try and outscore Barmer in these final 3 rounds if he has any hope of trying to take the Drivers' Championship away from Barmer. As I mentioned earlier, Barmer has got quite a comfortable lead in the Drivers' Championship, 44 points separating the top 2. And as a result, if Barmer outscores Dalton by 9 points or more, Barmer 22 will become Drivers' Champion for Season 9. Back-to-back Drivers' Champion for AM1. Oh, as Cameron has joined right at the end of the session. Well, that's how he served the qualifying bin, I suppose. He joins right at the end. So, Dalton starts from pole position. Look at that gap. That's quite a big gap for Interlagos. 2 3/4 tenths of a second between the top 2. The Vermu in 3rd. Airborne Tiger in 4th. Then JD. Really nice qualifying from him. He starts 5th. Blacks in P6 and McLaren looking really strong. Mitch Burns in 7th and Andy Wu in 8th. Bursey in 9th. So both alphas inside the top 10. And Saint 10th. Kid and Petter P11, followed by Express, Shelley the Turtle, Blade, Lopez, Dream, Latifi, Game Boy, and I did notice Cameron joined right at the end of the session. To note as well, Latifi and Game Boy did not set times as Cameron's left the session. Oh dear. Oh no, that's a bit strange. Anyway. You can see the slightly overcast conditions, but it shouldn't turn to wet during the race. Hopefully, as a result, we get to see some really cool stuff out on track. This circuit usually delivers. It's typically pretty cool racing here in Brazil. That's what I'm hoping for. Now, everyone inside the top 10 will be starting on the soft tyres. Strategy here, if I do recall, soft medium. It typically is. At any racetrack, there are very few racetracks in this game where it isn't a soft medium strategy. I can think of Singapore and Hungary as 2. There's probably others as well. But most racetracks here, it's soft medium. Also, I'd like to point out as well, there's no texture for the pit wall. It's just black. The marshals are just standing on nothingness. There. There's no texture whatsoever, it's just black. Interesting, I've never noticed that before. Alright, 10 seconds away from the start of the formation lap. We'll get to see what the drivers are doing outside of the top 10 in terms of strategy. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a few guys try and start on the mediums. Try and do a medium soft race. But we know everyone inside the top 10 will be starting on the soft tyre. Okay, it's a healthy mix. It's a healthy mix, which is really cool to see. So we'll run through the order just quickly again. Dalton starts from pole, Barmer alongside, that's the front row. Then Vermu in 3rd, Airborne Tiger in 4th, JD in 5th, Blacks in P6, Mitch Burns in 7th, Andy Wu in 8th, Bursey in 9th, and Saint completes the top 10. Kit and Petter, the first driver starting outside the top 10, is on the medium compound tyre. Express is P12 in the AlphaTauri, also on the mediums. Shelley the Turtle in P13. Also on the medium compound tyre. Blade, starting P14, is on the soft tyre. Same with Lopez in 15th. So they need to be aggressive right at the beginning of the race. Dream, P16 on the mediums. Nicholas Latifi, P17 on the mediums as well. And Game Boy, starting from the back, is on the soft tyre. So we've got 13 cars starting on the softs, 5 on the medium tyre. And this as well, flicking my way through. He's got it. So Lopez with the Senna style helmet? It's hard to tell from this angle. But certainly yellow, green and blue. Oh. Very vibrant helmet. Fittingly enough, he's in a Williams as well. at Brazil. Leaders are now making their way through the final sector, so we'll get the race underway very, very shortly. 18-car field for the start of this one. A healthy size field. I mean, it's not a full field of cars, but it's a really healthy size field, which is really nice to see. Now, Dalton, if I recall correctly, will start on the racing line. Yes, he will. So he starts on the outside to turn 1. So if he doesn't get a good start, Barmer has the inside line into the beginning of the center S to try and take the lead away from his championship rival. Everyone's lined up, ready to race here. We have 10 red lights. And we are underway here at Interlagos. It's a nice start from Barmer. Here we go towards the center S. Barmer with the inside line sends it in. They're side by side through turn 1. Spinning is Blacks in the McLaren. Oh dear, oh dear. You can see end plates flying off in the distance as the leaders make their way down towards the Cida del Lago for the first time. It's Dalton who leads. Barmer in second, Vermeulen in third, and we have a virtual safety car. Well, it didn't take long. I noticed that Black's spun, and he's got a missing front wing on that McLaren. He will have to pit to get that fixed. Dear, oh dear. From a really promising qualifying, horrible race start. Dear, oh dear. Now, has anyone else got damage? Yes, JD's got damage. He was caught up in that. Also, another promising qualifying session from him. He's now down in 12th. Blade, no damage. Game Boy's up. He's up quite a few positions, actually. From 18th, he's now up to 14th. Nicholas has got front wing damage. Express, I can't tell from this angle if he's okay or not. Shelly the Turtle looks okay, but yeah, a few drivers getting into trouble early in this race. Kit and Petter now down to last. His front wing looks okay. Express does have wing damage. I saw that end plate on the right-hand side. It's missing as Saint goes into the pits. Quite a few cars going in after what happened on the opening lap at turns 1 and 2. See what tyre they move on to as we're going back under green flag racing. It's Dalton who leads, Barmer in second. There's Vermeulen, Andy Wu, Airborne Tiger and Mitch Burns. They're battling for position here for P5 and 6. They're now heading up the hill around turns 6 and 7 into the hairpin of turn 8. No one really in a position to try and attack at the moment. So Saint, Blacks, JD, Blade, Game Boy, Latifi, Express, all of them getting damage on the opening lap, all of them having to pit for repairs. They're now a long way behind. Lopez overtaking Dream down the inside. That was at turn 11. He's now into P8. Around Junsao, turn 13, heading up the hill towards turns 14 and 15. The final 2 corners on the racetrack. Dalton still leads, but he's not pulling away. It's 5.5 tenths separating the top 2. It's now lap 3 of 36, so DRS is enabled. Coming up to the first DRS detection zone, right here at the exit of turn 2. And Barmer's going to be closing in on Dalton. Vermeulen has lost time to the top 2 as Airborne Tiger spins at turn 3. He uses the grass on the inside to get out of the way. Here comes Shelly the Turtle and Kitten Petter. He's done a really nice job getting out of the way of everybody. Really nicely done. Dream gets by Lopez for P7. So Lopez now down to 8th. Some drama on the opening few laps here at Brazil. Track living up to its reputation. Exiting turn 11, down the hill through turns 12 and then 13. Oh, and there goes one of the braking boards. Oh dear. I think Barmer might have taken it out because he's lost 3 tenths to our race leader. As a result, he won't have DRS down the main straightaway. This is Dalton's opportunity to create a gap and pull away, and that's Airborne Tiger. Spinning out, I believe it is. He rejoins safely, but he loses positions to Saint. Blacks and JD are on their way. Here we go. Oh, and he gets out of the way. That's really nicely done there from Tiger. Got himself completely out of the way. Rejoins very safely. He's now down to 15th. He does have to be careful, though, on those tyres. They won't feel particularly great. Andy Wu trying to put a bit of pressure on Vermeulen here as they head up the hill to turn 6 and 7. 3:10 separating these two, so it's a tight fight as Blacks overtakes JD. That was for 12th place. Lopez, Dream, half a second separating these two as well. Now Lopez should be aiming to pull away from Dream, and that's what he's trying to do. He's on the soft tyre right now. He needs to make the most of what he has. JD overtakes Blacks. Airborne Tiger overtakes Blade. That was for 14th. All of these guys are recovering from drama. These opening laps at Brazil. They need a safety car, really, to save their races. See, his Saint is 14.7 seconds behind the next car, which is solely the Turtle, who understeers wide at Junsao. Andy Wu, can he make something happen here? I don't think he will, because Vermeulen is within DRS range of Barmer. He is losing time to the race leader. The gap's now 1.8 seconds between the top two. Around turn 5, heading up the hill. That's Blade spinning, doing a bit of lawn mowing. He rejoins safely, but now down in 17th. Shelley the Turtle, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. That's the first 3-second penalty dished out for any of the drivers on the grid. There's the second one. Dream in P8 has now got a 3-second penalty. And I can assure you those two drivers won't be the last to get 3-second pens here at Brazil. So we've got a 3-car fight for second. And that's literally it. There's a 2-car fight for 13th between Airborne Tiger and Blacks. But everyone else has spread out quite a bit in these opening laps. Vermeulen right on the back of Barmer, heading through the center S, then... Oh, Andy in the background, big tank slapper at the exit of turn 2. Vermeulen with DRS open, heading towards the Cida del Lago. Not close enough to send it on Barmer. He stays behind. Oh, and he runs wide at turn 4, losing time. But it was a great catch to not put it in the wall. And Nicholas Latifi has crashed out of the race. That is at Junsao, and we have a safety car. There he is there. Hard into the wall on the outside of turn 13. He might have put a wheel into the grass on the outside of 13. Understeered into the wall. Or it could have been deliberate, who knows. His teammate did exactly that at Suzuka. He was awarded a qualifying ban as a result. Alright. What do the leaders do? Dalton does nothing. Barmer does nothing. Vermeulen comes in. So does Andy Wu. So, some drivers taking advantage of this. Safety car coming out. Hard tyres for Vermeulen. Mitch Burns, a 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pit lane. It is an incredibly fast approach here at Interlagos into the pit lane. You do have to be careful. Andy Wu onto the medium compound tyre. Same with Mitch Burns. Bursey onto the mediums too. Lopez, a set of mediums. Has Vermeulen blown it in terms of strategy? Dreams pitted onto the hard, so has Kitten Petter. But those hard tyres just won't have the performance of the medium compound tyres. Have they blown it in terms of strategy? They will have the tyre life, but will they have the performance? That is the question. But our top two, Dalton and Barmer, have not pitted. Have they blown it in terms of strategy? They are now a pit stop behind everybody. Literally everybody. So, see that there? Everyone's made at least one stop. So... strategy-wise, they're a bit compromised. We'll see what they do, though. I mean, do they pit now? They're going to lose a whole heap of track position if they do, but they'll put them back on the same strategy as everybody else. Or do they stay out and sleep in the bed that they've made. It looks like they're going to stay out. Alright. Shelly the Turtle has spun. His Aston Martin camouflage as well in the grass there. Oh, be careful. Those tyres will be a bit cooked. Gets out of the way of Blade. And he's done it in such a way that Blade wouldn't have gotten an illegal overtake. So. Oh dear, oh dear. You do have to be incredibly careful with dirty tyres. They have negative grip, in all honesty. Blade comes in. So he'll be pitting onto fresh tyres. What will he pit onto? Mediums, I suppose? Hard tyres. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers pitting onto hard. Shelley's in and retires from the event. Oh dear. Oh, it's a bit disappointing, but understand it. Look how dirty that thing is. My goodness. That front wing looks like a well-used shovel. It's that dirty. My goodness. Typically, the AlphaTauri gets really dirty. I've been driving it fairly recently in league racing. And I think the AlphaTauri is by far the filthiest car out of all of them, if you get it dirty. It just gets completely dirty. Front wing, rear wing, cockpit, all of it. Just dirt, muck, just really filthy car at times. Rightio, we should be doing one more lap behind the safety car. And then it can go back into the pits and we can go back on the green flag racing. We'll run through the order quickly while we have the opportunity to do so. We have Dalton at the front of the field on 8-lap-old softs that he started on and used in qualifying. Barmer's second on the same 8-lap-old softs. I eventually got that out from qualifying. They are now a pit stop behind everyone. So Vermoo is on the hard tyres in third. Andy Wu on medium tyres in fourth. Mitch Burns with a 5-second penalty for speeding is fifth on medium. Same with Bursey in P6. And Lopez in P7 and Saints in P8. Kitapeta is ninth on the hard tyre. So it's a fair few cars between him and Vermoo in terms of hard compound runners. Dream is next in P10, then Express in P11, JD in 12th, Airborne Tiger on the soft tyre, so he'll be planning to push. Elite Game Boy on old softs, Blacks and Blade at the back, they're on hard compound tyres. So, kind of mix, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I believe, cars on the hard tyre. Got 6 cars on the mediums. 4 cars on the softs. All of them with varying degrees of wear. Alright. Safety car has gone back into the pits. Back into its home. And Dalton takes off. Up towards the line. It's now lap 10 of 36 here in Brazil. 2.5 tenths separated the top two. And Lopez making a move on Saint. Saint fighting back though. And the Mercedes driver keeps P7. Around turn 3, Curva de Sol. Express overtakes his teammate Dream. Down the Retro Aposta we go. Towards Descida de Lago. Side by side. Not quite. Airborne Tiger. Down the inside of JD. He makes a move into P12. Up the hill now. Oh, will he fancy a move here? He definitely had a run. But not quite enough of a run to send it on Dream. Oh, he's trying though. He's gesturing. He wants to get by as soon as possible, and he needs to. He's on soft tyres. He needs to push. Towards the front though. half a second separating the top two. Airborne Tiger has now gone by Dream into P11. Around turn 13, heading up the hill now. The gap is 1.3 seconds between Barmer and Vermouth. So the top two are pulling away. Vermouth on those hard tyres, he won't feel particularly fast, especially with that horde of medium runners right behind him. Through the centre S. Turn 1, turn 2. Into Cover de Sol, turn 3. Sector 1, yellows. That is Airborne Tiger. Oh dear, oh dear. He's now dropped down to the back of the field. So he wasn't able to recover those lost places on the soft tyre. Blacks around the outside. JD fights so down the inside. They're side by side heading around turn 5. Blacks runs wide. He gets through. Oh, JD loses control. Blade has to take avoiding action and manages to get through. It was very tight between those three. But fortunately, they all get through unscathed. Dalton out in front. 9-10 separating the top two. Make that a second. Barmer is losing time. Vermouth is also losing time to our race leaders. And Andy Wu is becoming that little bit bigger in his wing mirrors. Up towards turn 1. DRS is now enabled. And Andy Wu is going to use that to full effect through turn 2. Around Curva de Sol turn 3. 3/10 separate these two as Blacks overtakes Dream. Andy opens DRS and is closing in. He'll look to the inside into Desida do Lago. Sends it in proper and he gets in front of the Mercedes. He's into P3. Vermouth runs a little bit wide. Trying to give room to Andy there. So they both got through unscathed. But now the Ferrari has the task of closing in on the top two. And not lose any time whatsoever to the top two, because these guys still need to make another stop. Bursey overtaking Mitch Burns. Burns under a bit of pressure from... Oh, that's why. He's now into AI. Oh, dear. So he's dropped out of the session, and he's going to tumble down through the order. Oh, no. Kirsten Petter gets by now into P8. Mitch, he was looking really, really solid. But he's disconnected from the session and is losing time. Here comes Lopez down the inside into turn 1. A successful move there from the Williams driver. He's into P6. Vermouth, can he counter-attack here? Can he battle Andy? He's got DRS and is closing in. Not by enough, though, to challenge the Ferrari driver. He has to stay behind in P4. Try and follow the Ferrari as best he can through the middle sector. Express and Blacks battling for position. In fact, Blacks is in an AlphaTauri sandwich heading up the hill towards turn 6. He's looking to the inside but didn't commit to a move. Around turn 7 into the hairpin of turn 8. Will there be ascent? The answer is no. And there's Mitch Burns AI holding everyone up, being a cork in the bottle, so to speak. Around the outside goes Express, trying to fight the Aston Martin. He gets through. So does Blacks down the inside into turn 11. Contact between the two. And, oh dear, Mitch is AI. Oh no. Tumbling. He's now down to 13th. Outside of the top 10. Barmer pits in. The man who was second on track pits in for the first time. And he's set to lose a lot of positions. Blacks with DRS open. He closes in on Express. Not by enough, though, to challenge. Oh, but Express runs wide. He left a door open for the McLaren driver, but he didn't go through it. Around turn 3, heading down the Reta Aposta towards turn 4. And he should get by here, and does. Blade does the same, so does JD on the AI of Mitch Burns. So Black's up to 8th, Blade up to 10th, and JD up to 12th. Very nice. Here's the battle at the front of the field. Andy Wu, Vermouth, Bursey. 1 second separating these three. Then it's 2.4 seconds back to Lopez in P5. Out in front, though, is Dalton, but he does need to pit. You can see where Barmer's come out, down in 14th place. So, not pitting has cost them big time. Dalton stays out. I think he has to. He has to just keep going. Here comes Vermoo on Andy Wu. So Vermoo into P2. Andy Wu down to third. Burzy right behind, watching the show in fourth. Lopez losing time to those in front. And I think that's thanks to not having DRS to try and close in. Blade, Dream, battling through turn 2. Or the other AlphaTauri of Express getting involved. Spinning out and into the wall. Goes Express. That is at the exit of turn 2. Gets that car pointed back in the right direction. But he has to do an entire lap with that wing damage. Here comes Barmer on the AI of Mitch Burns into 12th. Oh, you got to feel for Mitch, honestly. Losing time, hand over fist. JD applying pressure to Dream now. Blade trying to pull away. He's increased the gap to just under a second. If he can find a couple of hundredths here, he can try and hang on to P9. Dream doing his best to keep up, but he's made a mistake at turn 11 and turn 12. And he's lost 3/10 to Blade. Running wide at turn 13, losing more time. Here comes JD. Around turn 13, up towards turn 15, the final corner. And through goes JD. With relative ease, he's into 10th. The battle for the provisional race lead. Vermoo, Andy Wu, Burzy J. Less than a second separate all three. Up the hill towards turn 6. There's Lopez and Saint. Almost 3 seconds behind. Around the hairpin of turn 8. Around the sweeper of turn 9. And he should have better grip through this section, but he does have to put up with the dirty air coming off the Mercedes-Benz as Express pits to go onto the soft tyre and get that front wing fixed. Jun Sao heading up the hill now towards turn 14. Burzy's lost a little bit of ground, not too much though. He's still well within DRS range. So they head on to the main straightaway towards the center S. Dalton stays out for another lap. He is trying to go as long as he humanly can on those soft tyres. Give himself the opportunity to get a safety car or a virtual safety car to try and help him out. Down the Retro Aposta now towards Desida do Lago. The gap is half a second between these two. Andy Wu closes in, not by enough to attack. This battle is certainly on between those three. Speaking of battles, Lopez and Saint separated by 3/10. We got this battle for P5. Saint is on 14 lap old mediums compared to Lopez on 9 lap old mediums. I don't think the pace difference will be too dramatic just yet, as Mitch Burns has rejoined and he'll have a rude awakening, finding himself down in 13th place. Saint, he'll be doing his best on those tyres, but when that tyre wear hits about lap 17 or so, then he'll really start to feel the tyre wear kicking in. And in fact, now he's starting to lose time. Blade, what's happened here? He's lost a few positions. Mitch Burns has rejoined and he's now back behind the wheel of the car. I can tell because the intervals have disappeared. Keep an eye on the battle for P2 here, this 3-car fight. All the intervals are starting to come back. Here we go, down the Retro Aposta. Andy Wu closing in. 3.5 tenths, 3 tenths, 2.5 tenths, 2 tenths. Not enough to attack, but enough to keep the pressure on Vermoo. Keep him honest. Very easy to make a mistake here at Interlagos. Lopez, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. He is the third driver in the race to do so. I think Shelley the Turtle got a 3-second time penalty during this race. So technically Lopez is the third car to get a 3-second. But he is only one of 2 cars still on track that has a 3-second time penalty. Mitch Burns down in 13th. Has got a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. And into the pits goes our race leader, Dalton. So he's done half the race on the soft tyre. Credit to him. He's gone incredibly long, but he has to pit now. Around the center S, turns 1 and 2. The gap's 2 tenths between these guys. Andy Wu loses a little bit of ground at the exit of turn 3, but he's now closing in down the Retro-Aposta. 1 tenth separating the two, but Andy doesn't go for the move. He's just trying to keep the pressure up, trying to make Vermeulen make a mistake. Bersey's just watching along in third. Probably has the popcorn out, watching the show and waiting for his moment to strike. Saint has overtaken Lopez as well, so he's now up to 4th. But with those older tyres, he really will start to feel the burn. Kittenpetter in front of Blacks around the hairpin of turn 11, down the hill towards turn 12. The gap is half a second between these two, and if Blacks gets a really nice exit here, he can line up and overtake into turn 1. It looks like he's done exactly that. Really nice exit there from Blacks. Kittenpetter, there's not much he can do. He leaves the inside line wide open for Blacks. He goes through into P6. Dalton has overtaken Barber. A critical overtake, and it's demonstrated that the massive undercut that Barber has just tried to do hasn't worked. Now, maybe if he had clear air, it might have worked, but it didn't work because he had to go through traffic. Andy Wu, by the way, has just taken the lead. Bersey's now into second. Vermeulen down to third. Oh, it's tight. It's very tight there. I thought there was going to be contact between those two, but they managed to get through side by side through turn 6 and 7 without hitting each other. Now, I noticed Vermeulen was quite wide at turn 4. The Cedar de Lago, I noticed he had to use the runoff area on the outside. So maybe he outbroke himself, maybe there was contact, I'm not sure. What I do know, he's down to third place. He has to try and catch up, and he's lost a little bit of time to Bersey. Oh, hello. Lap car. That's what that is. That's Elite Game Boys AI. Oh, I see. So he must have dropped out of the race as well when I wasn't looking. Here comes Lopez. Takes P4 away from Saint. This battle might not be over. So long as Saint stays within 1 second of Lopez, this battle isn't over. We have Blacks, Kittenpetter, Dalton and Barber, a 4-car train battling for P6 into Desida de Lago. 3/10 separating P6 and 7. Then it's a further half a second back to Dalton and P8, and he is closing in. There's the AI. Oh, it's Game Boy. Gets on the brakes rather abruptly. Try and get out of the way. Well, at least the AI recognised the blue flags and did indeed get out of the way. Exiting turn 9 around turn 10 into 11. Dalton applying pressure, but there really isn't much he can do here. Just has to be a bit patient, try and work out where to try and pass Petter. Here comes Bersey with DRS wide open. He now takes the lead at the beginning of lap 22 of 36 here at Interlagos. But I'm guessing that isn't over. Dalton has now gotten by Kittenpetter. He's now into P7. He's trying to line up an overtake into turn 1 on Blacks. He's unsuccessful. Blade is into the pits as well. I'm not quite sure why. He has the tyres to go to the end, but he has come in. Here comes Dalton. The DRS open, he goes to the outside. Barber trying to overtake Kittenpetter as well. Blacks fighting though, down the inside of turn 4. Contact as they go through turn 5. Up the hill towards turn 6. Both drivers low on battery. Dalton with the inside line. Blacks trying to fight around the outside. Can't keep the car there, he has to give in. Dalton is into P6. Barber goes through into P7. Blacks now has the role of trying to hold up Kittenpetter. But I think Petter on those old tyres, those old 14-lap old tyres, he won't be able to challenge those on the medium compound. Dream bringing out yellow flags. He's usually using the inside of the course to get out of the way. He does have a missing end plate. So I wonder if he and maybe Mitch came together. I'm not sure. Into the pits goes Lopez and Saint. They're coming in. What's happening here? Front wing? No, this is a strategic stop from Saint. Lopez, similar story. Soft tyres for both of them. Interesting. They lost a whole heap of track position as a result. Nice camera angle there. The curb cam at turn 5. Now, Barmer has to try and keep up with Dalton. Thanks to his massive lead in the championship, he doesn't necessarily need to beat Dalton here. We still have 2 rounds after this race in Brazil. Got a race at Mexico City at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. And then we got the final round in the United States at Circuit of the Americas. So Barmer doesn't need to play a too aggressive game here. Just needs to keep up, not lose too many points to Dalton. Well, that doesn't help. 3-second time penalty for Barmer. He's got that through multiple warnings. Around turn 6 and turn 7 come the race leaders. Burzy still in front. Andy Wu in second. Vermeeu in third. Then it's a 5-second gap back to Dalton, who will be pushing. He knows he needs every point possible for his championship hopes. Behind this leading group, we do have Blacks and Kit and Petter. They are battling. They're 6/10 apart. Rest of the field, though, pretty spread out now. Express has proceeded to retire in the pit lane. He's had enough, it seems. And Andy Wu comes in. Interesting. Both AlphaTauris retire out of the session. Now, I have seen a glitch where the AI just randomly stop in the pit lane, so hopefully I won't catch out Andy here. No, it won't. Thank goodness. But you know, you can see that there. The AI has... Oh, the AI despawned in the pit lane. Well, good on it. Thank goodness for that. So Andy, he's not going to try and go to the end on those mediums. He's come in for soft tyres and he's just in front of Lopez. Interesting. Blade runs wide, gets a 3-second time penalty. He's done that at the center S, I believe. Rightio, so those guys on the mediums aren't trying to stretch them to get to the end. They're pitting in for softs. I honestly can't understand that strategy call. You can see how much track position they've lost. I think if I was in their position, I would just gamble and keep going. Not try and push too hard, obviously. But Burzy, that's what he's doing right now. He's trying to keep going. I would just take the gamble and go. Got the track position now. Just keep driving, see if you can keep it. If there's a safety car, well then, good for you. You've now got track position and the ability to pit for soft tyres and get to the end. Yeah, no, interesting. Vermeeu though. Oh, as I was just about to say, he could make it to the end. Well, that won't help his cause whatsoever. He has spun at turn 6. He's dropped down to P6, rather coincidentally. And all that hard work, all that effort, all been thrown away with that spin. He's now down to P6. His tyres will feel less than great. And the 2 cars in front of him, well, they're on the same age tyres. They'll be trying to do the same thing as what Vermeeu was doing. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Into the pits goes Kit and Petter. So none of these guys want to go to the end. All of these guys want to pit for soft tyres, it seems. Petter is going to drop down to 10th here. And he won't drop down any more places. Blade is too far behind. So Kitten is bound to score points here. Andy Wu down the inside of JD. He's into P6 now. Next target will be Vermeeu on the hard tyre. Airborne Tiger, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. Around. Ooh, Kitten Petter, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. Around turn 10 goes Andy Wu, and he's closing in on Vermeer. JD and Lopez only 2/10 apart. Lopez will be trying to line up an overtake here. The Alfa Romeo driver can't do it here at turn 13 though, but he will do it down the main straightaway with DRS open. Here we go, here comes Andy Wu. He's not bothering to use any battery. He's not close enough to attack Vermeer into turn 1, unlike Lopez, who gets JD well before turn 1, so he's into P7. Andy Wu right on the back of Vermeer here, around curve of De Sol. Using up a bit of battery now. There's not much Vermeer can do about this. Through he goes into P5. It's a 3.3 second gap to Blacks in the McLaren. The strategy in this race has been very interesting, because I thought Dalton and Barmer blew it in terms of strategy by not pitting in when everyone else did. They're now second and third, and they're closing in on the race leader Burzy, who is trying to get those tyres to the end of the race. You would probably lose positions to Dalton and Barmer, but it's a fairly healthy sized gap back to Blacks. Gap of 7 seconds. So there's a real possibility that Burzy can finish in the top 3, so long as he keeps the car straight and not make any mistakes. Around Desida Dulago, turns 4 and 5. Up the hill towards turn 6. The gap is 3/10 of a second. Vermeer under a bit of pressure here from Lopez. Look at him, he's hounding the Mercedes-Benz. He's just got so much more grip. Has he got somewhere to go though? Oh, he's looking. Just a sneaky little movement to the right. He's just saying, hello Vermeer, I'm right here. Black's a 3-second time penalty, so that'll help Burzy out. Both McLarens have now got time penalties next to their names. Up the hill into the hairpin of turn 11. Down the hill, through turn 12. Lopez applying a lot of pressure, and here comes Dalton for the race lead. DRS open. Elementary overtake. Nice and simple. He gets through into the race lead. Barmer will now be trying to close in, try and pass Burzy and build up a gap as Andy Wu gets by Blacks. He's now into 4th place, and he's got 8 seconds to close in to the top 3. Blackso is fighting back. With DRS open, he shoots to the inside into Desida Dulago and takes P4 back from the Ferrari. Oh, but he fights back at turn 5. A brilliant bit of battling between these two. Up the hill towards turn 6. Blacks has the inside line. Andy Wu around the outside trying to fight into the hairpin of turn 8. They're still side by side. Andy has the inside line at turn 9, and with more grip he gets on through. He's into 4th place. Blackso, if he can get a pretty nice run throughout the rest of this lap, he will get DRS down the main straightaway. No, he's lost too much time. Those hard tyres just don't have the grip compared to those fresh, soft compound tyres. Lopez also got by Vermeer, so he's into P6, but he does have to overcome a penalty. 3 seconds, if I do believe. Yep. But with the laps remaining, I think Lopez should be able to build that margin. Here comes Saint on JD, down the inside into turn 1. A simple move for Saint, he's into P8. Barmer on the back of Burzy. 1:10 separating the two. Burzy trying to hang on desperately here. Doing a really nice job. Will he cover the inside line? No, he doesn't need to. Barmer not going for the move. He is hounding the back of the Alfa Romeo. Around turn 9. Then climbing back up the hill. Around turn 10 and 11. Will there be a send? No, is the answer. He is waiting. Being very patient. He'll get DRS down the main straightaway. And then he'll get by Burzy and move into P2. But then he has to overcome a 3-second time penalty with the laps remaining. And his tyres, they're fairly old now, 16 laps old. They'll be better than Burzy's, but I don't think by a great deal. Can't get him into turn 1 thanks to Burzy having DRS down that main straightaway. Oh, and Barman lost the back end through turn 2. Nice catch though. Great catch. But he's lost time. He now loses ground to Burzy, and there's Elite Game Boys AI in the Alpine. He's going to provide an interesting roadblock here. Gets out of the way. Here comes Burzy and Barmer. They try to get... Oh! Game Boy shuts the door. The AI shuts the door on Burzy. He loses time to the race leader. Oh dear, oh dear. That was very close. But Burzy was alert enough to not hit the back of the Alpine. He's closed back within a second of Dalton. I wonder if Dalton's playing a bit of games here and keeping the gap to under a second for Burzy's sake. Because he knows in order for him to win the championship, Barmer needs to finish considerably lower compared to where Rick finishes. Oh, and Barmer sends it in down the inside and he moves into P2. Can Burzy fight back? He's got DRS. He's not using any battery though. Try and fight back. What he needs to do now is stay within 3 seconds. And we've got 3.5 laps to do that. Interesting contest out in front now. Dalton. He has Barmer behind. Can he pull away? He is on fresher tyres. 5-lap fresher tyres. But the gap is shrinking between the top two. What's up with Barmer? He's not low on fuel. Because that's something that can happen here in Brazil. Is that fuel can disappear on you very, very quickly. But you can see there's no yellow icon, there's no red icon in the telemetry. So fuel's alright, it's just pace. Barmer's just turned up the wick. He's pushing quite hard. So 3 laps to go here in Brazil. Vermeux's overtaken JD. That was for P8. We might see a pass here as well for P5. Into the center S. Lopez right behind Blacks. No, he's not. Black's now down to 6. I swear he was in front. Oh, he's low on fuel though. You can see the yellow icon in the telemetry. He is low on fuel. So he needs to go into fuel conservation mode if he wants to make it to the end. Vermeux, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings to rub a little bit more salt into the wound. He's had a really nice race. It's been spoiled with that spin that he had at turn 6. Around Junsao, the gap is half a second between the top two. Barmer is pushing. Airborne Tiger setting a new fastest lap, an 8.4. And here comes Barmer to the inside, into the center S. He gets by Dalton. Dalton will line up right behind the McLaren. He'll get DRS down the Reta Aposta. Here we go, exiting Curva de Sol. And here comes the Williams with a whole leap of speed. He slingshots by to retake the lead into turn 4. Burzy now 2.4 seconds behind, 2.5. He is losing ground to Barmer. Around turn 8 now, that hairpin. Third gear, gently on the power, modulating the brake, modulating the throttle. Oh, and Dalton covers the inside line. Making this very interesting between these two. He's holding up Barmer, trying to keep him within 3 seconds of Burzy. He wants him to finish P3 from the looks of things. He's got plenty of battery to play with, compared to Barmer, at least. Opens DRS. down the main straightaway towards turn 1. Leaves the inside line open for Barma. It's now the final lap. Lap 36 of 36. Dalton stays right behind the McLaren through turns 1 and 2. Around turn 3. Dalton should get back by here. Oh, they're both even on battery now. They're both quite low. Dalton to the outside here at turn 4. He gets back by, back into the race lead. Around turn 5. Up the hill towards Ferradura. Turn 6 and turn 7. It's 3.3 seconds separating Burzy and Barma. Burzy needs to close in by a few tenths over the course of this lap. He is just outside of that 3-second range. Dalton holding up Barma. Around the outside, he looks here at turn 11. He has the inside line at turn 12. He backs off. Lets Dalton have it. The gap is just under 3 seconds now between Barma and Burzy. It's 2.7 now, in fact. Oh, Dalton's done Burzy a massive favour. Here we go. Up towards the line. Barma with his 3-second penalty won't take the win. It'll be Rick Dalton who takes victory, and Burzy will take second. Barma will finish in 3rd place at the end of this one. So Dalton playing a bit of games there, I think. I reckon he had more pace than what he showed us at the end. He was just trying to hold Barma up to get Burzy within 3 seconds of the McLaren driver. Really, really smart driving from Dalton. And that's the gamesmanship of motor racing. So there we are. Dalton wins, Burzy second, Barma third. So that will mean Dalton will outscore Barma by 10 points and reduce the gap to 34 points with 2 rounds to go. Beside the podium places, we have Andy Wu, Saint, Lopez, JD, Black, Vermoo, and Kitten Pether. That's the top 10. Lopez, given driver of the day, we'll see his performance in the final results screen. But for right now, it's the podium celebrations. He took victory in Japan. That was taken away from him. He's come back well here at Brazil. He's taken victory here. Burzy, making those medium tyres last for a very long time. He ends up taking second. And Barma, he will take 3rd place. He'll lose 10 points to Rick in the Drivers' Championship, but Barma still very much has the advantage with 2 rounds to go. So, the unofficial results of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Rick Dalton wins by 2.3 seconds to Burzy J in the Alfa Romeo. Barma will finish P3 in the McLaren. Very much keeps his title hopes alive. Andy Wu, P4. Saint P5, Lopez P6, JD in 7th, Blackson 8th, Vermoo in 9th, Kitten Pether completes the top 10. And Lopez going up from 15th to 6th. No wonder he got driver of the day. Outside of the point scoring places, Blade, Burns, Airborne Tiger, Elite Game Boy. His AI was a bit of a mess out there tonight. And our retirees, Express, Dream, no points for AlphaTauri, Shelley the Turtle, and Nicholas Latifi. So another interesting Grand Prix here on AM1. The championship fight just got that little bit more interesting with 2 rounds to go. 34 points. That's all there's in it. Barma can successfully win the Drivers' Championship next week in Mexico, but he needs a good race. But Hermanos Rodriguez is not an easy racetrack. Like many tracks in this game, Mexico City is renowned for its drama. It's got one of the most treacherous and tricky S-sections on the entire Formula One calendar that can very, very easily catch people out. So, Next week is bound to be very interesting. But for now, congratulations to the top three again. Dalton, Bursey and Barmer. And thank you everyone so much for watching. That was quite a nice race, as it typically is here in Brazil. I love you too, Peter. But I think with everything said and done, it's time to end the stream. Until next time, I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you all so much for watching. And we'll see you next week for the penultimate round of the AM1 Championship, round 13 of 14, at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez for the Mexican Grand Prix. Until then, it's goodbye.